right, great. I got to hear that first.
Yeah.
Okay, and Sheriff, again, just for the people at home, your name and your title.
Mark Dannels, the sheriff of Cochise County, Arizona.
Okay, excellent. Um, so just break down a little bit for me what happened around 3:30 this morning.
We had a deputy on patrol, came up behind a vehicle that was stopped for some construction there on Highway 80, which is south of Benson. He ran the plate on the vehicle. The vehicle came back a stolen vehicle out of the county as he notified the agencies, law enforcement ahead of him, which was north of him, to prepare for this. As he got through the construction zone, the deputy turned on his emergency equipment. The vehicle took off at speeds over 100 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, excuse me. Got up on I-10, which is something we try to prevent. Sadly, he got up on I-10, went up the wrong exit ramp, caused a bunch of hate and discontent up there. We're lucky that there was no serious crash, deadly crash on the interstate. He got back off at the 304 exit, which is the Highway 90 exit, came down the exit ramp the opposite direction into oncoming traffic where he ended up crashing. We took the teenager into custody last night, where now he sits in my jail remanded as an adult for the felony charges.
When do you expect him to, so it's going to be bounded over at some point today?
Yeah, he'll see a judge today. He's been remanded as an adult, even though he's a teenager underage. There was evidence of smuggling in the vehicle, based on my brief this morning. And so, yes, he will be in a stolen car that time of morning. Sadly, that's more common than not when it comes to our juveniles that are being infected, I call it, with the border smuggling.
You and I have talked about teens and the smuggling before, so this is nothing new. How often does this happen in Cochise?
I believe, and again, this is what over the last 2 years, we've had over 100 juveniles apprehended for some kind of smuggling involvement on the border. 100 juveniles. A lot of them are not from Cochise County. I mean, you look at the almost 3,000, I think it was 2,884 people booked in our jail over the last 2 years for border crimes. Um, Only 154 were illegally in the country. So it's U.S. citizens to include juveniles that are coming down here to partake in international crime and partner up with the criminal cartels that don't care about anybody, to include the migrants.
So this car was stolen from Tucson. Do we think
Correct.
the juvenile stole the car from here potentially, went down to Cochise to do the smuggling, and then was trying to get back? Or what do we think
It
happened?
was, we don't know if he was in the process of still picking up or he didn't meet the pickup. We don't know. Again, there's evidence of smuggling based on the clothing and other items within the vehicle, based on what I was told this morning. Um, I'm not sure exactly what was going on there. That investigation continues to include going back and working with the agencies out of Tucson to get more information on the stolen vehicle. Again, it's just sad when we see teenagers that should be home getting ready for school the next day, playing sports, socialize, and all the things that we enjoy about being a high school student. Instead, they're down here committing felonious crimes and international crime. That's something I've been pushing this out for the last several years, that communities, not just coaches, has to engage, have to work together, and we need to have parents start engaging with their children to know where your child's at 3 in the morning.
Do you think that this kid has any idea how dangerous this whole event was? And people could have died, including your officers.
You bet. And that's the hardest thing. They're innocent in nature. Most teenagers are. They don't understand the magnitude of what they're getting involved with, but they're attracted, they're invited, and they're welcomed by social media that says easy money, come on down. And to a simple mind, innocent mind, it is. So the welcoming with social media makes it seem so simple. Well, we know as adults, I know in law enforcement, as long as I've been doing this, it changes lives forever. And that's something I've been preaching on. I'm going to continue to preach on the fact that, thanks to the media partners out of Tucson, media throughout the United States, we have to continue this messaging, because until we change what's going on our borders, we're going to change lives in a negative way every day.
How are your deputies doing? I mean, going on a high speed chase, I'm sure as they're doing that, they're worried about they're going to get home, to their families. How are they doing in all this?
Well, I just met with my team members last week. I met with my leadership team yesterday. We're talking about this. We become very good at interdiction in Cochise County because we're faced with so many challenges with it. And we've changed our policies, we changed our tactics to do our best to bring these high risk pursuits to a quick conclusion. Is it always successful? Sadly, it isn't. But we're doing everything we can to work with our community to make sure we're meeting their expectations too. Sadly, I need our federal government to engage with us. I really do. And I'm not talking about Border Patrol agents or customs agents or HSI. I'm talking about our congressional people out of DC. I'm talking about the White House. They have to be a partner in this. Otherwise, they're not seeing the day-to-day tragedies that we see and the risks that we're facing. My deputies, I mean, they've done an amazing job, the men and women and all the law enforcement in Cochise County. But are they getting tired? Have they been placed in harm's way more than they should? Absolutely. So we have to make a difference, but we need the federal government to acknowledge it, engage it, recognize it, prioritize it, and let's fix this problem.
Based upon what you said, I don't think this question even makes any sense, but I guess, you're not surprised when you hear a 15-year-old doing this.
No, I think our youngest has been down to 12 years old. Oldest is 72. So when, yeah, 15, 16-year-old, no, that's right in the middle of the ballpark there. But think about something. When you have a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old with adult males camouflaged in the backseat, knowing I have no idea who they are. They didn't give up. They're getting smuggled for purposes in the backseat of a car with a 13, 14, even a 12-year-old. I mean, that is inhumane on every angle. It's upsetting to every conscious. It just amazes me. We're not doing more to address this. In fact, what I hear is just the opposite. When you look at some of the congressional hearings, if you look at some of the politicians saying, we don't have a problem, the border's secured. Well, I'll spend a night here in Cochise County. I welcome that.
Do the parents have any responsibility in this?
The parents have all the responsibility in this. And I get it. I get it. It's not easy raising children. I'm not saying that, and I'm not being critical, but together we can make that difference. I say this before. In fact, your news station used to have a thing at every newscast, every night, 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are at? Do it again, please, because we need to carry that message with you because you got to know where your kids are at 10 o'clock. They're not in their bed. Let's find your kid. Let's find your child because I don't want to find them behind the wheel of a car. I don't want to find them dead in a car crash. I don't want to see them injured. Let's find your child and keep them safe.